Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is a very special Spartan Coach's Corner here from actually Boardman High School. And we're here at Spartans Giving with the head swimming and diving coach here at Boardman, Carlo Cordon, who is, 6 years at the helm of this program. But you said you've been coaching for over 30 years. Walk me through how you get started. Obviously, you had to be a good swimmer or a diver at that point. Walk me through how you get started into the coaching atmosphere.
It really starts with the program. We call it our culture. And even back when I was swimming, Coach Terry O'Halloran created a culture where we all enjoyed being a part of it. And when I graduated high school, I was an average swimmer at best. I was not quite as talented as the kids we have today. That might be the training's changed a lot.
Yeah.
But I loved it enough so that, when I came back from college, he offered me the coaching job over at BTSC. Summer program, and I said, absolutely, I'd love to do it. And from that point on, I've been hooked. We coached forever together. And then after Coach O'Halloran retired, I stepped right in, and I've got some great coaches around me now. So we just try to keep that ball moving in the right direction.
The maroon and white runs through your veins. I mean, you love it here at Boardman. Naturally, everybody loves you. I've heard so many stories about you have to interview Coach Cordon. You have to We're finally here. What is it about Boardman that stands out to you?
Well, I tell you what, it's the family, the community, the students. I'm also a teacher over at Glenwood Junior High School. And, growing up here, watching some of the kids come back, it's not just the swimming alumni, but the other sports alumni. When they come back, they just want to see how the Boardman kids are doing. Just today, we had practice. We had a 4-hour practice in the weight room, then at the pool. Yet, we still had 3 collegiate swimmers come back, and they wanted to train with their high school buddies from the past, and we always welcome them in. And so just seeing that connection to those that have moved on, like myself and some of my assistant coaches, just wanting to give back to the team, giving back to Boardman in any way possible is always just a plus.
Boardman has an incredible roster of legacy that was in that pool in some form or another. When you think about it, I know personally the Gasations,
Of course, yes.
you think about, what these young superstars have done in the pool to now what they're doing in life. For you, that's got to be a great joy, but the correlation between the hours, you said a 4-hour practice on the day before Thanksgiving, it correlates to real life because if you want something, you got to go get it.
That's absolutely correct. And, most of the kids that come into our program, they're prepped. They're either coming out of our summer teams or some of the local club programs around here. And, when we get them at the high school, the program is the program. We lay it out ahead of time. We have goals that we set beginning of the season for what we would like our team to do. That we also set personal goals for each individual kid as well. So we meet with them. They come up with goals that they want to set, whether it's a daily goal or a long-term goal for the end of the season. And probably one of the most special things that, we think our kids do is we do something for our community. We have micro teams inside our team. So we have 3 micro teams on our swim team. And all 3 of those teams actually have to do something for their community, whether it's working in a soup kitchen downtown Youngstown. We do some things for Akron Children's Hospital. Right now, our seniors are working on things for what they want to do this year. But we think once they all do this, they train hard, they work hard, they're giving back. Once they leave our program, they become the leaders of our community down the road. It's great to see, for instance, you brought up the Gasations. They were incredible athletes. Kevin was an incredible baseball player, and we loved watching him on the ball field, and he would come back and train for us and do really well. His brother Dave was fantastic too. So we don't mind crossing different sports. We think that makes a better athlete. And I always look at it this way: if now they're on the football field and they're doing the stuff that they have to do on the football field, and they come and swim with us, or vice versa, we're making a better athlete, and we're making a better swimmer, and possibly a better football player too.
Outside of once every 4 years, swimming and diving doesn't get a whole lot of attention. When you're making the pitch and you're recruiting the hallways and you're recruiting, in the pools, essentially, what things do you have to talk about with you talk about sharing kids with other sports. That's got to be a challenge sometimes because
Sure.
the ideas of grandeur on the gridiron and on the basketball court, on the baseball diamond, things of that nature, you're competing essentially at some point. But these kids love being in that pool. How do you recruit, so to speak, to get those kids on your roster?
Well, I think it's the greatest trick. Someone said it might have been a year ago. They're like, Coach, we started playing a lot of games as an 8 and under, and then we played relay races, and we always had free breakfast, and then all of a sudden we hook them into the high school and it becomes a little more work. And that is the trick, is we try to – there's a lot of very talented swimmers. And, to be honest, the area is lacking in facilities, so – swimming in general is a very foreign sport for most kids in Boardman, all around the community, and just because we just don't have facilities. So recruiting them becomes very difficult, and I try to grab kids all the time, especially since I'm at the junior high school. But most kids are, they're just not – they don't know how to swim. We are patient with them. We like to get them on there. We do have a lane where, we call it a developmental lane, where we just try to show them the basics, hook them in. They start to like it a lot. They become part of the family. And, after a half a season, they love this sport and they want to move on. I'm very lucky that I have a summer club at Applewood Swim Club. And my assistant coach, Mark Brooks, he's a coach over at Boardman Tennis and Swim Club. And we also get some kids from Firestone area swim club. And those 3 summer teams basically are feeder teams. And we get 99% of our kids from those 3 teams. And every now and then we just get an outlier that just wants to try diving, or they want to try swimming, and they really turn out to be great athletes for us too. Retention's very good. We usually don't lose kids once they get in there, but we're always looking at building. We're not, we do not like to rest on the laurels of the past. That's the one thing we say, is we always want to strive for something else. So we're always trying to push forward and trying to make our program better, a little more richer, deeper in talent. So we're always looking for new things to do.
Let's talk about that roster and expectations for this year's club. Talk to me about what you feel, your strengths, some of the challenges you might see this year in the pool, and naturally, where do you think you guys are going to be headed?
All right, I'll start with my guys' side. My boys' side, I graduated a couple really strong swimmers. They were very multi-dimensional. They could swim anything. But what I do have left behind, I do have Matthew Amidal, who's a senior. He was a state qualifier last year in 2 relays. I really lit it up. He was probably one of the greatest swims I've seen. And I've been doing this for a long time, but his relay splits last year at districts and going into the state meets just show us that he's got the ability to even go faster this year. He's a little stronger than he was, a little more, putting a little more time into the weight room. I think he's going to fly. I do have sophomore Zach Mioch returning. He's also state qualifier last year in those same 2 relays, and he's put a lot of work in, to the point he was practicing at 6 in the morning, long course every day, hitting the weight room, and he's a grinder. He's our first sophomore captain on this high school team in 40 years. So, it just shows, what people around him, they respect him and what he could do. We also have returning, he's a 3-time state qualifier on the diving boards, R.J. Keating. He's recovering from, he actually broke his foot at the state meet last year in one of his dives, and he still dove through, and he actually had a fracture in his spine as well. And he had back surgery in the offseason, and he's ready to go this year. So I think he's ready to go. Last year he was just a little timid just because that back was hurting him so much. But now he's pain-free for the most part, and he's ready to become a 4-time state qualifier in diving. So, boys teams first, we have, our theme for this year on the guys' side is basically next man up. We've got a scrappy group of boys that are ready to just jump in a spot. That's, Jack Benson. We've got a boy named Dominic White, Grant Parker. We've got a new young man, Carter Yoakum. So we got quite a few other boys that are just, itching and crawling and, fighting to get in one of those spots on the relays. So, we just have to wait and see. We have a maroon and white meet on Friday, our first dual meet on Tuesday. So once we get some times, we'll know where we can start putting some of the guys.
It's incredible. I mean, just to fight through the adversity of an injury like that.
Absolutely.
They talk about how, I heard it once, I'm not sure I believed it, but it made sense that you don't see very many injuries in the pool because of the fluidity and all that stuff. It's science. Let's just put it there. But broken leg or broken foot, and then you said a spinal injury?
Yes. The foot was an impact fracture, and then RJ grew so quick in 1 year, like close to 6-7 inches in 1 year, that just he had just a little bit of a fracture just from like the growing and the diving, and it just never could heal. And so right near the end of the year is when it really bothered him, and it got to the point where he either had to have it fixed or he was going to have to probably stop diving. And this is his thing; he loves it. So we talked to Mom. We talked about what the best course of action, and it always comes down to the individual. Like, listen, we want him to be pain-free. And if that means diving is have to put on the side for a year, no problem. But just happen to work out, he could have the surgery and mend. And he played soccer as well for the Spartans, so he was okay, ready to go.
That's incredible. Hey, listen, don't tell me the swimmers and divers aren't tough. That's incredible. How do you keep the focus? And obviously there's a lot of distractions this time of year with the holidays and things of that nature. I don't think it's necessarily hard. It's not like wrestling where you're trying to put on as much weight and then lose as much weight. For swimming and diving, you put them in that pool, they're going to lose as much weight as you want them to lose. And probably, with everything that they put into their body, they're using that as energy constantly. So
right.
How do you keep their focus? How do you keep their weight where you want it? Do you have to do that with keeping their weight?
Yeah, for the kids themselves, we call this Slowvember for a reason. They're sluggish, they're tired, they might be a little irritable at times. But like for instance today, we had an 8 o'clock practice, and then we at the weight room, and then we hit the pool for 2 hours. But little things like this, this little Friendsgiving at Boardman, thanks for the donations of all that food. They could not wait to get here. I just, they kept saying, Coach, we're really hungry. And I said, I know, don't worry, there's going to be plenty of food. But these are the little perks. Personally, when I walk onto the pool deck with these kids, it makes my day complete. They're great kids to work with. I think I'm very lucky. So for me, I get tired. It does take me away from my family. There's things I do. I have to work out on my own. I work out before school. That's my way of clearing my mind and starting a new day. So if there's something bugging me, whether it's school issue or maybe it's training or pool time. Pool time's at a premium for us, and sometimes I have to clear my mind, and working out for me is what I have to do too. But for the kids, for the most part, as we start hitting the competition season, which literally starts next week, there's not as much training, and they get to start seeing the rewards of all the stuff that they put in. For instance, I talked about my guys' team for a second. My girls' team is, I got a lot of kids returning from our little state run last year. And they're great. I got a nice heavy senior group. They know what their expectations are. They want to get back to the big dance. Gina DiNapoli's a 2-time state qualifier. Abby Mihawk, she was there last year. Alex Taylor, my sophomore, she's quite the talented swimmer. She's coming back. And Petra Cernak. It's a great group of girls. And then I've got a lot of girls around them, like Ella Miller, Julia Pickens. I got some great divers, Maisie Kaufman, who's also returning back. She had knee surgery, but she will be back on the boards here very soon. So it's about balancing all of that. So it's never, every day's a challenge, but it's not a challenge that can't be fixed. It's usually, someone's sick or someone might be hurt, our pool shut down, where do we go? And I've learned a long time ago, you try to fix the things you can, and don't let the things you can't bother you, because you just can't fix them.
Control the controllables, right?
Exactly.
This is a very special time of year, obviously, for everybody involved with this Spartansgiving, which is phenomenal. We're seeing everybody disperse. Everybody's leaving with a nice belly full of food, 90 pounds of meat.
Yeah.
What does Thanksgiving mean to you, and what are you thankful for this year?
Thanksgiving to me, I love spending time with my family and my friends. I do this. It's become one of my favorite holidays. Our family comes together. We do a very large feast at my house. We have 4 turkeys that we're going to cook up, 2 deep fried, 2 smoked. That's what I look forward to. My family loves coming over. So I'm always thankful for those moments with my family, my friends, my team, the coaches around here. It's just, to me, it's great to be off for a day. We just have one day off, which is tomorrow. We're back in the water Friday, but even just that 24 hours where the kids are with their families and we're with ours. It's just a special time, and it's a recharge of batteries.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you for the Thanksgiving draft. So what's going on the plate? What's the first pick, second, and third?
Okay. So first pick, I'm actually doing a brisket as well. That's going to be number one for me.
Oh, my goodness.
And then the deep fried turkey number 2, smoked turkey number 3, and everything else could go to everyone. Those are the 3 things I focus on. But, of course, I'm more of a meat guy, so that's what I stick with.
I love it. So what's for dessert?
Well, we got pecan, you got pumpkin, apple pie, we got cookies, you name it.
Oh,
we got about
goodness.
40, 50 people coming over.
Coach, God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much
too.
for the
It's
time.
great seeing you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.